I'm Bob Schock. I'm a litigation attorney specializing in malpractice.
We're in the law office of Robert G. Schock, and Bob, you were the lead attorney on a personal injury case where the verdict award was $2.9 million.
That's right.
Could you talk to us in more detail about this case?
Briefly, it's the tree that fell on Highway 1, crushing a woman to death with her 7-year-old daughter in the back seat and 2 children by a previous marriage who resided in Pennsylvania without a mother.
So she witnessed, the little girl witnessed her mother's death.
The 7-year-old probably witnessed the mother's death. She was in the position to see her mother, but because of the trauma, she kind of puts it out of her memory. But psychologists think it's still there at some point.
So I'd like to talk about that because when I discuss this with people that I know, a lot of lay people aren't aware that an organization like the state of California is responsible for maintaining trees on highways. Yes?
All right-of-ways around the highways, they're responsible for. State of California is responsible for the highways and the trees adjacent to the state highways, not county. The county has their own duty for their.
So in the Bay Area, where does that apply?
Bay Area, all of the highways, all of the freeways
580.
are going to be 580 is state federal, but basically administered by the state, Caltrans, and a lot of your other roads. Highway 1 going down to Carmel, 101. And this happened to be on Struve Road on Highway 1 by Moss Landing in Carmel. I say Carmel, but just north of Monterey. And it was a tree that had been there in a grove of other cypress trees that had been inspected by the state of California but had not been taken down, even though they turned out to be very dangerous. And had they looked at it, when they did their inspection, had done a proper inspection, they would have removed this specific tree 1 to 2 years before the accident happened.
Is that to say that highways in California are largely pre-existing conditions for hazards of this kind?
Well, it's a little more complicated than that, but the state of California has the duty. They're not perfect and they're not required to be perfect and prevent everything. They're required to use reasonable care in protecting themselves, much like you or myself with a house and your house and your yards and so forth. So they're under the same general kind of duty, although they have a lot more immunities than you or I would have, which keeps them from getting held liable for things. But in this particular case, we were able to get outside their immunities because they had done an inspection and they should have picked this up and they could have prevented the death.
Is that to say that the state of California could be held liable for an accident caused by an ill-serviced, for want of a better term, tree, even if there was no death?
Yes. You talk about personal injury
Yes.
or someone
Yeah.
that's seriously injured. It'd be the same. It's the same thing. If they have a duty to use reasonable care. If they don't do so, and someone is injured or property is damaged, then they're responsible for it.
And reasonable care is?
Reasonable care is not the perfect care, and it's not the bad care. It's, did they have a chance? Did they have time to run an inspection? Were their employees able to do such an inspection? If they didn't, then it wouldn't be reasonable for them to have had to have done it. But in this case, they had time to do the inspections. They did it, and they negligently did the inspection in this case.
Shifting gears slightly, how did this case come to you for those who might be watching who need your services?
Actually, I was brought in to be co-counsel with another attorney, Larry Padway, who actually was representing the 7-year-old, and I was representing the 15 and 17-year-old kids from Pennsylvania. So the breakdown of the jury was that an economist felt that there was $950,000 in economic loss to the 7-year-old, And then the jury awarded $1 million to the 7-year-old for the loss of their mother. And the jury awarded each of my clients, who were 15 and 17, living in Pennsylvania, who appeared at trial, $525,000 each, a total of $1,050,000.
Now, the mother was Jacine Sarmiento?
That's correct. And so was one of the daughters. The daughter that I represented, who's now 17, was Jacine.
And this roadway was known in a dangerous condition,
Yes,
basically, and the state did nothing about it.
that's correct.
How does... Let me rephrase that question. I'll just edit that part out. All right. Beep! Okay. The 17-year-old, how is she doing now? What was her response to all this?
She's doing pretty well now. It was a tragic loss for her. This happened on January 1st, 2006. The night before, late in the evening, Jacine, the mother, had called the daughter and wished her a Happy New Year's, but the daughter was out at a New Year's party, did not get the message until later that night. So the last word she heard from her mother died within a day of this phone call, where I love you, and I hope to see you soon.
Someone watching this may wonder if the plaintiffs were so young, who gets the award? And the mother, if the mother's passed, just out of curiosity.
The children get the award, but what has been done, and an example in this case is, that's why you have an attorney, is to facilitate a structure so that the child does not get everything at age 18 and walks off and spends it all. So we've worked out a structured settlement that is paid out through an annuity, where the kids will be guaranteed money for their college, so then they will get monthly payments for the rest of their lives, plus they'll get lump sum payments at age 25, 30, 35 to help them buy a house and do a few other things.
Bob, what should someone do in a situation where they think that an organization like the state of California or some other corporation institution may be liable, but they don't know if they're on a highway or a roller coaster or an airport or airline?
Really, the first thing to do is seek the help of competent attorneys, someone that specializes in this type of thing and someone who has analyzed these types of cases.
Like yourself.
Like myself, who can sit down, go over the facts, and try and figure out if there's some persons who didn't follow what they should have done that helped cause the incident, or some maintenance of a dangerous condition that should have been picked up before.
How can people contact you?
You can either email me, write me, or call me. My phone number is 510-839-7722.
Email is?
Email is Robert Schock, which is SCHOCK, at legalpros, LEGALPROS.org.
And your office address?
The Oakland office is at 1970 Broadway in Oakland.
Excellent. Thanks, Bob.
You're very welcome. Thank you.